100K months, the ultimate decompression marketing blueprint. Now, before we talk about what works in decompression marketing, we got to talk about what doesn't work. And here's some like key reasons why decompression marketing will fail. The first one is it's the wrong message to the wrong audience. In other words, you're trying to go too broad. If you're looking for decompression patients who are, and by the way, if there's 30 million back pain sufferers per year, then only a fraction of those are actually disc patients. So if you have a very broad message, then you will be unlikely to attract those patients specific to decompression. The leads are unqualified and unmotivated. This is typically a pre-education issue. So if they're unqualified, in other words, they don't have the condition, or they don't have the means to invest in their health, or they don't have the desire, that would be an unqualified and unmotivated patient. Next, there's no system to nurture, convert, and follow up with leads. These systems that can be automated are really, really essential so that they're working in the background, while you are working or sleeping or whatever you're doing. So you want these automated systems ongoing so that, again, we can nurture, convert, and follow up. Next, if you're trying to compete on price and not value, this will be a challenge, right? So our whole goal at Specialized Practice is, well, we want to be the best at decompression, but we want you to be the positional expert in your community. When you reach that status, you are now competing on value. In other words, hey, we're not going to be the cheapest. We are going to be the best. So if you are looking for the best doctor to solve your disc problem, we are it. Now, some doctors worry, there's, other doctors in my community, they're offering decompression and they're doing, $29, like these crazy offers. That should not be a concern, right? In my experience, this is just anecdotally, probably about 80% of doctors they have a decompression table, they don't really know what they're doing. They don't have proven protocols. They're not, from a clinical standpoint, a true expert. They don't have great marketing, and they don't have great systems and staff. So when and that's why they typically fail, right? So if you try to compete with them on price, it's a race to the bottom. So we don't want to do that. Next, the doctor does not build long-term authority and credibility in their community. So this is a positioning issue, and we'll talk about how to do that. But if that's not part of your goal, in terms of growing your decompression practice and getting to 100K months, then you are missing out. And I'll talk about why in a second with this next item, which is 3%. Now, what does 3% mean? At any given time, and this is data across all types of markets, whether they're neuropathy sufferers or, back pain patients, or they're, whether they're looking for some other type of solution. About 3% are what they call problem aware and solution aware, and they are ready to take action now. So the reason why a lot of the Facebook marketing companies, a lot of times, it'll start off strong, but then it will tank. The reason why is they're just targeting that 3%. Now, what makes up the rest, the other 97%? There's about 37% of your what's called your total addressable market, your TAM, that are problem aware, but they're not yet solution aware. They are in research mode. And so if you ignore those people, and we'll talk about how to address them, but if you ignore those people, you're ignoring a massive part of the market, right? And then, so if you add that up, 37 and 3, so that's about 40% of your market that you should be going after. The rest, the 60%, they're definitely not solution aware. They're not even problem aware. They may have the problem, or it's starting to come on, so they're having minor symptoms, et cetera, but they're not problem aware. In other words, they don't know that they have a disc issue. So because they don't know that they have a disc issue, they're not researching, how to solve a disc issue naturally, non-surgically, drug-free. So that's really key in the marketing approach is to get long-term consistent results. How do we not only reach the 3%, but also reach the 37%? So we have 6 pillars of the dominant decompression marketing plan, and here they are, and we'll obviously go into greater detail on each one. Number 1, high intent lead generation, typically through Google and YouTube search. 2, interruptive demand generation, which is Facebook and Instagram and YouTube in-stream. Internal marketing and reactivation systems, organic authority content through social platforms and YouTube, trust building assets and automation, and then traditional platforms, which cover saturation and lead generation. So let's go ahead and dive in. Pillar number 1, high intent lead generation. So this is going to be typically Google and YouTube. So for instance, on Google, this is intent based. In other words, people are going on Google, they have the problem, they're not solution aware, so they are researching. So they're in research mode, and there, perfect, thank you, Katie. So they are problem aware, but they're now searching for the solution. So you want to be where they are searching for, and obviously, Google is the largest search engine on the planet, so we want to be there with our advertising and drive them to our funnel. Next, YouTube discovery ads. So you can do YouTube ads, right, where it can be tied to the search content. So in other words, if someone is searching on YouTube, so YouTube is the number 2 search engine on the planet, and people use YouTube just like they use Google. A lot of people would rather watch a video than read. And so they use YouTube to get information about their condition. Of course, we want to have landing pages or a funnel. You can use, discovery days, which is like $49. That's your consult exam, report of findings, MRI review. Maybe you do a trial treatment or a first treatment. Other options are a quiz funnel, where you bring them to your funnel. You're going to ask them several questions so that you can pre-qualify them, and then a VSL funnel. So we've kind of combined this whole thing into one. So they go to our landing page, and we make an offer, 49, 59, whatever the number is. And they and that first landing page also has a lot of information about decompression. We want typically a doctor to have a video on there that is an introductory video. And then once they put in their information to register for like a back pain voucher to come in, then they hit the survey or the quiz. And so I think it's like 7 questions. So, have you been diagnosed with a disc condition? How long has it been going on for? What's the severity? What else have you tried? All these types of questions. And it's designed, obviously, to filter out the people that are not good fits. Then they go to a scheduling page where they can schedule an appointment, and then they can pay for the appointment. And then at the end, they have our VSL, or a VSL is a video sales letter. This is our patient webinar, so that we can then pre-educate the patient prior to coming in. So those lead filters, pre-screening forms, we want to qualify patients. So that's pillar number 1, high intent lead generation. And again, that's going to be targeting that 3% as well. And the 37%, because some are in research mode, some are ready to get started. Pillar 2 is what's called interruptive demand generation. So this will be your Facebook and Instagram. And again, if you're just doing Facebook and Instagram, you're typically only targeting the 3%. But you can use obviously video and carousel ads. We're targeting chronic neck and back pain. Video ads, now still image ads work as well. Video ads typically tend to work better. We like to get the doctor on camera, or at least doing a voiceover showing video of either patients getting treated on the table and the laser and the shockwave, while they narrate. So if they're not comfortable being in front of camera, you can do that, do voiceover, and then we edit it all together. So that works well. YouTube in stream. So these are going to be pattern interrupts. And this is typically at the beginning of a YouTube video. If you spend any time on YouTube, you know that, hey, usually when you start a video, you'll see about 15 seconds of an ad. And whoever is the host of the video can decide to not do that, but typically they do that so that they can generate ad revenue. Then obviously creative hooks, look, suffering from chronic back or neck pain. Would you like to avoid drugs and surgery for your chronic back pain, et cetera? So you just have hooks that are specific to what the patient is dealing with. So that's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 is going to be your internal marketing and reactivation. So first, we always want to start off with sending emails and texts to our past patient base and letting them know that you offer this service. Especially if you're rather new to decompression, you definitely want to reach back in your past patient base and let them know about it. Then you want to continue to email your patients. I like to, I would recommend once a week with good, valuable content emails. Like Dr. Pankinen does his Did You Know series. Those are available if you want them. Those are in week 10, I believe, under UGCs. But I would think of your patient base as like, you just want to continue to nurture it, continue to provide value, continue to position yourself as an expert, tell them stuff that they can't readily find on Google. And what they'll start to see you as is a trusted authority. And then every email, you just want a very soft call to action at the end, just on a PS. Hey, if this is something you're suffering from, click or call today. Next, referral offers. Referrals are, some people are very prone to referrals. Some people are less prone to referrals, but it can be very unsteady. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's none. So it's a great idea to have systems in place to generate referrals. In states where you can do inducements, something that works really well is like just Amazon gift cards. We covered this, I think it was last year or the year before at the summit, but $25 gift card on Amazon for referrals. And now they need to show up. There's a whole system on how to do it, and that's in the training. But the point being is having systems to generate referrals on a consistent basis. Next, in-office scripts and displays. So when we talk about something that's automated, it doesn't necessarily need to be tech, right? It could be very, very simple, like a sign. I like those big pop-up signs. They're like 6 feet tall. You can get them on vistaprint.com. And at the top, you have just a quick headline. Hey, chronic neck or back pain, or neck or back pain won't go away, ask the doctor about spinal decompression. You could do the same thing with laser therapy. You could get mini pop-ups that can go on like side tables or on the front desk. But essentially, in fact, you could pepper those all around the office in high traffic areas. Same thing with the referral, like that Amazon gift card referral campaign. You can frame them and put them in high traffic areas. They could be on walls, they could be on side tables, etc. But these things are then working without you having to do anything. That's really the goal there, because you just never know when someone either, maybe they don't know that you offer like neuropathy treatment in addition to decompression or whatever. Maybe they don't, maybe they recently were told by a friend or a family member that they have some type of back pain condition. Well, unless they're kind of triggered by signage in your office, they may never even think to refer. So that's why you want to have those things up and very visible. Now, obviously you don't want to overdo it, but you can do it very strategically and professionally. Also on the internal marketing front, I like to have, Dr. Cromie did a great job with this. Dr. Schaefer did a great job with this, but open houses. And I like to kind of the anchor the year of marketing with a spring and a fall open house. Now you can theme these around a patient appreciation event where they would also bring friends or family members who are looking for solutions. You could also theme it around if you got a new piece of equipment, if you got a new laser, shockwave, whatever, you could theme it around that. And it's really interesting because obviously these are geared towards patients and their friends. So these are patient appreciation events. I would recommend September or October to do this. So that's your fall. Like Dr. Petnato's and his two daughters, also chiropractors, they're doing Chiropalooza in September. And that's a month long patient appreciation event. And it's capped with a big barbecue and all this type of stuff. So those are really, really good for a couple of reasons. One, from the patient appreciation event, I think that's great to give back. But two, it also gives your staff something to kind of look forward to and plan around. And, as long as you make it fun and do it in a professional and have a strategic plan to launch it and make it successful, then these can be kind of, like I said, anchors in your spring and your fall to generate kind of a windfall of new patients. The kind of next level up, and Dr. Schaefer just did this in the spring, very successfully, I might add, where you do a professional open house. Now they did both. They did a patient open house and they did a professional open house. And so a professional open house is where you invite attorneys, MDs, dentists, PTs, podiatrists, all the people in your community that are in the kind of healthcare spectrum obviously on the provider side, and you invite them. And so on this one, you would do, a nice wine and cheese, put it in the evening and just give people a chance to network, to see the equipment, to see your office, to meet your staff, and then obviously give them a way to refer. So Dr. Schaefer did this in, I think it was May. And then last time I talked to them, they're still getting referrals from this. And now, Dr. Schaefer, he's been in practice a long time, and he's an excellent physician, and he has really, really great relationships, with, surgeons and neurologists and all this type of stuff. And so it was a no-brainer. This may not, if you don't have like good, strong relationships with the other providers in your community, this may not be a good fit. But if you do, then I think it's an overlooked opportunity, something to really expand your network. So that's pillar 3, internal marketing and reactivation. Pillar 4 is your organic content strategy. Now, this is where it gets sticky, right? Because it's hard to get consistent with this. It's hard to know on the tech side how to do it. But the point with this is when you're doing paid marketing, when people see your ad, maybe, in that 3%, they immediately will, click and sign up. But a lot of people will research you, right? They're going to go on their social channels. They're going to go on Google. They may go on YouTube. They may go on Facebook and Instagram, looking at your business pages. But they're going to research you and try to see, like, okay, well, who is this doctor? How many Google reviews does he have? What type of content does he have? And if he or she goes to, say, your Facebook business page and it's like a ghost town, like the last, post was in 2023, well, that doesn't look good, right? So what you want to do is have good quality organic content, all based around the niche that you're trying to grow. And in this case, spinal decompression. And so here are the platforms. Facebook and Instagram, they put a big emphasis on Reels, right? Reels are highly shared. People literally, they'll do this at the end of the night. Like they'll just go into Reels and they'll just watch reel after reel after reel because they're all short, right? They're 30 to 60 seconds. And a lot of them are crazy, but again, if you can put good quality content in a 30 to 60-second little video, then again, that will start to reach your target audience. Now, here's what's really interesting about the algorithm currently with Facebook and Instagram. Now, maybe this will change, but this is how it is operating now. It's been that way for the past year or so, is because of the rise of AI. Some people have tried to flood the algorithm with AI generated content. And so to combat that, because Facebook is trying to provide a great user experience, to combat that, they changed the algorithm to lean towards and reward authenticity and quality of content. So in other words, if you are on camera and it's not an AI generated thing, that is rewarded. And then if you provide good quality content, that is rewarded. So how is it rewarded? It's shown to more people that it could serve, right? And the last I had heard, Facebook and Instagram, well, Facebook owns Instagram, so it's kind of a combo deal, but they have somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,500 data points on every single user. How crazy is that, right? So if you're on Facebook and Instagram, they know all about you. There is no privacy these days if you're on these platforms, which is unfortunate. But the point, it's just reality at this stage of the game. But it's good in this regard, right? Because if it hears, say, oh, this is a real doctor. Oh, they're talking about chronic back pain. Well, it will have that information and will be able to show those reels, that content, to people that may be interested. So next, you could do short form series. 3 signs your back pain is coming from a herniated disc. And sign number 1 is one video, sign number 2 is video number 2, etc. So that is kind of cool because then it's a sequencing event. People are trained to binge watch things, right? Amazon, they do, obviously their episodes. So that can align with that. And then on YouTube, long form content. So this is anywhere from, now when I say long form, it's not like you don't have to do 20-minute videos, but maybe 5 to 7 minute long videos on YouTube. What I like about this is it gives you more time to go in depth, right? About your protocol, how you help patients with disc pain, what the laser does, what the these are all content ideas that you for individual videos. How does spinal decompression work? What is the anatomy of the disc? Looks like Dr. Zalanka's joining us. Great to see him. And so with YouTube, the beauty of YouTube is, well, twofold. One, it's considered long tail advertising. In other words, it will live on the YouTube channel and it's very searchable. So, and searchable in a sense from an SEO standpoint, but also when someone goes to your YouTube channel, you see a grid of videos. So you can very quickly, if it's titled correctly and all that, and the proper tags and hashtags and all that type of stuff. Those are 2 different things, by the way. But they can very quickly see, oh, this is all this content this doctor offers. So 1, there's social proof there. 2, they can quickly look at each title and see, well, which one would be interesting to me? And then they pick that one, right? And then they watch that. Oh, that was good content. I'm gonna find another video, and they watch that, and they watch another one and another one. Pretty soon they're binging your content. They're developing a relationship with you don't even know about. And again, if it's set up properly, where they, for instance, in the information on the video, a very easy way for them to reach out to, whether it's a phone number or your funnel link. Now when they're ready, they will reach out. That's a very good quality patient, right? Very good quality patient, because they've done their research and they've made a decision to come in and see you. So other options on this are case of the week series. That would be probably that frequency would be too high, but maybe case of the month, where each month you're going to pick a patient and do a case study on. I was talking to Doctors Pedinato yesterday. They had a fantastic case study, actually Tuesday, I think it was, but they had a fantastic case study that patient, he's like 60 or 70 years old, but he had 5 back surgeries, laminectomy, put in the hardware, took out the hardware. The guy was a mess. 9 out of 10, walking with a cane. Now he's down to a 4 out of 10, no cane, right? So that's a phenomenal case study. And you guys, I know all you have cases very similar, and you want to share that because when patients see case studies, they're like, oh, you know, that's similar to me. Or wow, what a recovery. Maybe it'll work for me, right? It's social proof. And when you put it into a long form video, again, long form, you don't have to do 30-minute videos. 5 to 7 minutes is typically just fine. But when you put it in a longer form video, now those live on forever on your YouTube channel. Patients start to research you, and that builds trust and rapport. So that's an organic content strategy. Again, very tough to do this on your own. Typically, you'll need some type of VA to help with organizing it. One thing that that I've been kind of noodling around as part of an add-on to our marketing services is sending out a team once a quarter to shoot all this type of stuff. Then we'll edit it and start posting it on a regular basis. So that's your organic content strategy, pillar number 4. Now, pillar number 5, this is your trust and automation infrastructure. So it starts with patient testimonials. And I'd highly recommend, if you're not currently getting patient testimonials, you need to start doing that ASAP. And I would really recommend just using your phone, right? And keep your phone on you when you're in a midterm exam or a final exam, and the patient says, is doing great. That's a wonderful opportunity, even if it's halfway through care. Wonderful opportunity. Hey, would you mind sharing your story? We're not going to bring lights and cameras in here. Just going to use my phone. Love to hear what was life like before you started care and what's life like now. Very simple, before and after. That's what people really respond to, is transformation. That's what we're after, is what was the transformation. Okay. So, and what I like about video is you can obviously have the video and use it on all your social media channels and YouTube, et cetera. But you can also take a screenshot of it, of the patient. You can have, put this on a, kind of an 8x10. We talked about this wall of success in your report of findings room. So what would be great? You want to, in your wall of success, you want to start putting framed testimonials behind you, right? So when you're doing your ROF, patients are looking behind you and they're like, wow, all these people got, these amazing results. So you'd have take a still image of the video of the patient, title it, chronic back pain solved, or, post-surgical, pain relief, some type of title, and then transcribe their testimonial and have it written so that patients, like if they're waiting for you, they can go up and read it. Really, really good opportunity there. Next, a decompression authority booklet. So writing an ebook these days, guys, is so easy. So easy. Like if you just go to ChatGPT, you say, hey, I'm a chiropractor. I specialize in treating chronic neck and back pain. I want to write an ebook for my patients to pre-educate them. These are the tools I use. This is how long I've been in practice. This is our process. This is the protocol. Like just give it all that information and say, hey, just write me a really informative ebook, make it about 20 pages. And it will boom, 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 spit it out. No problem, right? Now you're going to want to go through and edit it, right? Make sure that everything is correct. But it'll give you kind of like the clay to mold. Like it's kind of hard to create the clay. It's hard to write the ebook, but ChatGPT is taking care of all of that. It'll write the whole thing. Now you're just going to mold that clay. This is really great to be given either prior to them coming in. We like to show the webinar to patients prior to coming in, but you can also provide this, or you can give it after day 1 if you didn't get it to them prior to their first appointment. Next, this more advanced technique, evergreen webinar funnel. We use this. Well, webinars are typically longer. They can be anywhere from 60 minutes to 2 hours, full webinar. And you could do that. We do a VSL, so it's a shorter one. I think it's about 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. But the point being is what you do is you drive patients to a landing page, no opt-in. It's directly to the webinar, right? So they can watch it immediately. And then right below it, there is a survey and a place to schedule. Very simple funnel. How to fix your herniated disc without drugs and surgery. Very, very simple. And again, you would just go through what is chronic back pain, what are the signs and symptoms, so that they can start to see, oh, well, what is chronic back pain and what are the conditions that cause it? And then what are the signs and symptoms? So they can start to think, oh gosh, I have sciatica too. Maybe I have a disc problem. And then you talk about, well, what are the typical treatments out there? You can talk about chiropractic and what it does. You can talk about PT and what that does. Talk about surgery and drugs and injections and all that type of stuff. You can talk about how they are not they're not the best solution for solving disc problems naturally, right? And then you talk about your solution. Okay, what is spinal decompression? What is laser therapy? How does it work? How does it solve these conditions long term without drug and surgery and no rehab? And then you can talk about insurance. Is it covered by insurance? If not, so we do all of this in our patient webinar. So if you want to create one of these yourself, just go watch the patient webinar. It literally walks you through. In fact, we even have the PowerPoint. You can literally use the PowerPoint and put in your information. And that'll probably be about, 20 minutes. I think that'd be perfect. So then this would be addressing your 37%, right? So the 3% are, taken up with the search ads and the Facebook and Instagram ads. And then you would have a separate campaign going to a webinar funnel. And then finally, you want to have in your funnel, what we've been doing this and it's been working really, really well, is an AI chatbot, right? So especially with that 3%, leads go stale so incredibly quickly. So, and if your staff is responsible for calling the leads, if they're not calling within 5 minutes, it's a good chance that you'll lose that lead. And so the beauty of the AI chatbot is now we've been training it on decompression and neuropathy and knee pain. So it knows all these frequently asked questions. It can answer all of them, right? So someone signs up for the special offer immediately, like literally within 10 seconds, the chatbot is reaching out. Hey, John, saw that you signed up for our new patient special. How long has your back pain been going on? How severe is it? What else have you tried? And then it will work on scheduling them. I mean, it's amazing. So that's something that you really want to have in your funnel, because what's going to happen is the more you use it, the more it learns and the better it gets. So just think of it like, whatever. Think of it like your stock portfolio. The more money you put into it, the bigger it's going to grow. And the longer, if you look at the S&P 500, up and to the right over time, it always goes up and to the right over time. So that's what you want to do with your chatbot. You want to continue to educate it and train it so it gets better and better over time. So it's an asset for you. So that's our trust and automation infrastructure. And then finally, traditional media. I really think that, and I like to use Dr. Pankinen as a great example here, because, he started with us back in 2020 and we were just doing Facebook. And it was doing really well, still does well. But, he also had a radio show. Then we started advertising in the newspaper. Then we started doing Google. I think we do Google for him. Then now he added a podcast. So adding a traditional platform media like newspaper, radio, or TV, it really broadens your reach. Not everybody's on Facebook. Some people hate Facebook. So, and they may be on Google. Maybe they don't find you, right? But a lot of people are on TV. A lot of people are listening to the radio. A lot of people still read newspapers and kind of magazine type of distributions. Like with Dr. DeSalvo, we're doing, it's called the Marin Independent Journal. So Facebook's really tough, and he's in Northern California, really tough. So we're not doing that, but we're going to target this Marin. It's called the MIJ. We're targeting neuropathy patients with this. And so really excited to see how that does. But it just has a really broad reach. And you can typically target, to a specific demo. Like for this MIJ, well, their demographics are older patients, right? And it's a fairly affluent readership as well. So, hey, that's perfect. Now, one interesting option these days is streaming. So talk about Hulu, Amazon Prime, Apple, like all the streaming platforms. If you watch shows on there, you will see commercials, right? So they're like, well, gosh, Facebook's making a truckload of money with their advertising. Why don't we do it too? And so we're researching this right now. Christiana, by the way, we hired a new operations coordinator. Super excited about her. Her name's Christiana. And she's amazing. But she has quite a bit of experience in this. So we're putting together a plan here to present to all you guys, all our members, so how you can kind of take advantage of this, because no one is doing this right now. No one, in terms of like doctors specialized in decompression, or knee pain or neuropathy, right? But again, this is focused on decompression. But this is, they'll help shoot the commercial. They'll place it on relevant content for you. They have all the data. Again, they have all the data of who to show it to and how long it should be and all that type of stuff. So so that's a really interesting thing, because it's super affordable relative to like your kind of typical TV ads. But even there, on your local affiliate networks, right? We're not doing CBS nationwide. We're doing CBS in Tacoma, Washington. It's much less expensive to do that, but it's still a pretty good chunk. Radio in bigger markets, pretty expensive. Dr. Kasu, I think she invests about $5,000 a month in radio alone, and it works. But it's not a small amount. Let's see here. Looks like Dr. Pankin is joining us. Good to see him. Sorry. Okay. So that is your traditional media. Now, the difference is there's two types of marketing. There is direct response, where we want to put out an ad. We want to put $1 out and get $3 or $4 or $5 back. So in other words, we're going to put out an ad. We want them to sign up for something. That's your direct response. Brand marketing is like TV or like Coke, where they're just going to show pretty people with a Coke because they just want to stay top of mind. So as you scrape off, if you're doing a lot of marketing, as you scrape off that 3% and start to dive more into that 37% we talked about, well, now you want to reach them and stay top of mind. And that's where the traditional platforms work really well. So this is your full asset ecosystem. This is what's going to get you to 100K a month consistently, or add your next 100K. So you got your paid ads, you have your funnels, you have your organic content, your internal campaigns, and then your trust builders, and then also that traditional media platform kind of component of the whole thing. Bonus tactics, talk about those case of the weeks, open houses, your webinar masterclass. Here's something I really like. I want to we'll figure out kind of an SOP on this, why I chose to offer spinal decompression. I think this could be so powerful, to have on, say, your homepage of your website, or on your YouTube channel, of a doctor. Hey, why did I choose to specialize in decompression? And, it's very easy to, best way to do many documentaries is you just have a list of questions. Again, obviously, I need a videographer crew to come in and do this correctly. They'll edit it and all that good stuff. But you'd be surprised if you just have prompts. Like you'll get over your nervousness and you'll start just speaking from the heart. Man, that's going to resonate with people. So that's something that's on my radar that I want to start creating for clients. And then finally, your partner, MD, and referral network, et cetera, NPPAs. So this is the ultimate plan, right? The most comprehensive plan. I mean, what else? I mean, if you think about it, what else is out there? There's not much else out there. But if you want to consistently, reach those 100K months, you need to be on multiple platforms. You need to be diligent in terms of putting out good quality content. Dr. Pankinen, Kyle Pankinen, has a podcast now. And he had one patient. He's like, I don't know, I was driving somewhere and he listened to like all 7 episodes or something. I was like hours and hours of content. I mean, can you imagine the quality of that patient showing up? They've already developed an amazing amount of trust and rapport with you. And again, it was on autopilot. So, because the distribution platform is already there. So that is the ultimate decompression marketing blueprint.